So I decided I wanted to put more content on my channel that doesn't always involve cooking or showing a place in Japan. Now, don't worry, I'll still be making that content, but instead of being just a cooking YouTuber, I think this channel will be more of a jack of all trades, these are the things I like kind of channel. And so today, I'll be talking about a game. To be more precise, a demo of a game that'll be coming out this week, Tales of Arise. For those of you that don't know, Tales of Arise is the newest game in the Tales of series of JRPGs, or Japanese role-playing games. Its popularity comes from many things, but the big two are its action-focused combat and its wonderful and fleshed-out characters. For me, the start of my love of this series came in the form of Tales of Vesperia, the 10th mainline title in the series. I know, hell of a start jumping all the way to the 10th game, but that's one of the cool things. Each of the games in the series, save for a handful, are standalone tales. Yeah? See what I did there? I'll stop. Basically, you don't need to play one game to understand the story and characters of another. So with that very short intro to the series out of the way, let's talk Arise. So this game is a very big step forward in the series, visually speaking. Gone are the more cartoony styles of previous versions. No more short limbs and big old heads. This game is sporting a more mature look with more human proportions and a more desaturated color palette. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's worse, just different. In order to get in the mindset for a new JRPG, I just finally finished playing the previous game in the series, Tales of Berseria. And I can definitely see the major difference between the two games. The character designs are more modern, but still have that Tales feel to them. The closest comparison, at least from a design standpoint, would be Tales of Xillia 1 and 2. Our lead character, Alphen, even looks a bit like the main character, Luger, from that game. As for the world design, if the character designs are a step forward, then the world design is a freaking Hulk jump. As I said, I just finished the last game in the series, and let me tell you, I expect to see Goku and Vegeta fighting in some of these areas because they are barren as hell. Nothing as far as the eye can see, save for a few enemies and a rock or bush here and there. But in Arise, oh man, the hills are a-rolling, the brooks, they are a-babbling, waterfalls, mountains in the distance. It is gorgeous. And while the game is still plenty linear, it makes you want to stop to look around and enjoy the scenery, something the previous games rarely made me want to do. Now there is some pop-in and some frame stutters every now and then, but this is also a version of a demo that was given to the press like 2 months ago. So I'm gonna assume most of that stuff will be ironed out by release. Yeah, that's also something worth pointing out. This demo is actually a bit of an older build, so some stuff in it isn't what will represent the full game. So if there is something you don't like, it very well could not be in the final product, so keep that in mind. And according to many of the YouTubers who played the first chapter of the final game, it sounds like there are already a few things that are different. As for music, I really like what I'm hearing so far. Now, I'm no music maker guy, but I do know what I like. The main fight theme is great, and I love what really sounds like a remake of the Tales of Vesperia's fight theme. a formidable foe stands in the way for the bosses. That is a tongue twister. The world theme has a much more epic orchestral feel to it. All in all, I'm looking forward to hearing more. The voice acting is pretty solid across the board too. I listen to the Japanese voices for a bit, but I always play Tails in English. It's just how I like it. In the demo, you hear the voice acting primarily in skits and banter after fights, and just walking around. The cutscenes with NPCs is silent outside of some random grunts and groans. I don't really mind this, even though full voice acting would have been cool. But I don't really need to hear the voice of some random nobody I will talk to literally one time. I will say I missed the after-fight little skits and hope that they are in the final version. Not only did they show more personality to the characters and were really amusing, but they also really solidified the fight being over. Now there's this weird empty air after the last hit where everyone just kind of stands around awkwardly. I'll get used to it, I guess, but I really hope they aren't all gone in the final game. At the start of the demo, you get to choose from one of 6 playable characters. Don't worry if you want to get a taste of each character though. One cool thing about this series is you can not only change who your overworld character is, basically who you'll be walking around as, but also freely switch between characters mid-combat. And who are these characters? We have Alphen, our sword-wielding protag who can feel no pain. Xion, our other protag, who is cursed to exude pain to those who touch her, and carries a rifle, and bombs, and heals. Huh. Okay, she's got all the things, doesn't she? Rinwell, our cute little lowly mage with her even more cute pet Hoodle. Law, the martial artist. No, not that Law. Or that Law. There we go. Dohalim, also known as Mr. Take Your Girl, who is the well-balanced fighter mage jack of all trades. And then there is Mami Kisara, with her big, thick with 5 damn C's shield. The cool thing about all these different characters is not only do they all play a bit differently, but they all have their own specialty perks. For instance, Alphen can use a flaming sword by holding any arts, the special move of the series. And he can do more damage to enemies, but the sword will do a bit of damage to him in return, because, you know, it's a freaking flaming sword. Or Rinwell, who takes a while to cast her spell arts, but she can then bank them for later. The really cool thing about that is, if you bank the same spell again, it levels up, all the way up to level 3. And let me tell you, releasing a level 3 spell is a room wrecker. Mami Kisara, no, I will not stop calling her that, can't dodge like everyone else, but can block, and has a special ability that not only blocks charging enemies, but also gives the party a defense buff. Speaking of dodging, let's talk combat. To initiate combat, all you have to do is run into an enemy, which you can see roaming the area. It's then a typical JRPG transition to a fight arena. I've seen people complain about this, saying that it's basically the same area. Why don't we just fight on the regular map? It's 4 to 6 characters fighting 1 to 6 enemies, jumping around, throwing all kinds of punches and kicks and fireballs, and one character that'll hit you with 4 damn tornadoes at once and then turn it into an even bigger tornado. Do you want drop frames? Because that's how you get drop frames. The combat in the game is the fast-paced action that most Tales fans are used to. You're part of a team, so you won't be doing crazy damage by yourself. The power in the game comes from mastery over your skills and arts and positioning and moving your characters to do as much damage to as many enemies as possible while keeping your guys safe. Not unlike a fighting game. Your characters in the demo have 6 active arts in combat, 3 on the ground and 3 in the air. In the full game, however, there will be bumped up to 12. More than likely, you will hold a button and the arts will be switched to a second page of arts, which is pretty sweet. In combat, these arts are flashy and cool and make you feel like a badass, if it wasn't for the fact that you seem to be hitting like a soggy napkin. The enemies are a bit tanky in the demo. Now, I have seen video from people playing the full game, and they look like they do a lot more damage to enemies, so it could be the demo that makes the enemies a bit more spongy than normal. Also, you're roughly the same level as enemies, so I will say one thing: don't mash. Each attack has animations that you can't cancel out of. Basically, you are open to attack until your character finishes doing their little dance. Now, I'm sure you can overgrind your character if you want to be a powerhouse, though. One thing that does stupid damage is strike skills. After you meet certain requirements, you can do a combination attack with one of your other party members. Each character in the demo has only one strike art with one other character, but there will be more in the final game. These moves are crazy flashy and will flat out kill regular enemies or do massive damage to bosses. There are actually a couple more ways to do more damage, like staggering your opponents. One way is to interrupt their arts with one of your party's boost attacks, special arts that have a brief cooldown. Also, there are big glowing weak points, a video game staple, which you can target. Most regular enemies don't have them, but bosses do. There are actually 3 bosses in the demo, one main, one optional, and one secret that you can unlock by beating the main boss in under 5 minutes. Outside of combat, you can do things like camping, which refills your health and healing arts. Yep, your healing is now set to a separate pool that you have to keep full if you want to be able to heal in battle now. Can't just spam it. While camping, you can also cook meals that give you different buffs depending on who makes the meal. They also can trigger another fan favorite Tale staple, the skits. Now, I have mixed feelings on the new skits. I do like that they're using the in-game models and they're more animated now. I like the comic book paneling they use too. I will say that one thing is missing that the hand-drawn pictures had in spades: emotion and charm. They were able to do so much with still images and a little bit of motion. I feel that the new skits look nice, but their faces just don't sell the same reactions, emotions, and charm that the hand-drawn did. They were still enjoyable, and I look forward to seeing more, but with this demo, they were just not as fun to watch as the old ones. Speaking of charm, one other thing I have a small gripe with is the UI. It's very clean and everything looks neat and where it should be and all, but it just seems a bit too clean in me. Again, it's missing some of the charm and energy that the other titles have. I know they're going more modern and this is part of that, but I hope they don't go so modern that everything loses the charm that brought us in the series in the first place. Other things you can do is collect materials and mine for ore to either sell or forge items. I've also seen that you can fish and farm too in the full game. Plus, of course, there will be more than enough side quests to bump a 40-hour game to the hundreds. And that's pretty much the demo. After you beat either the main boss or the secret boss, the game automatically spits you in front of the quest giver, and an ending cutscene plays depending on who you chose as your main. There are 3 ending videos for each connected pair of characters, Alphen and Xion, Rinwell and Law, and Mommy and Daddy. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to this game and seeing the story in full. Look forward to a full review in this format when I complete it. Let me know in the comments if you'll be playing this one and what characters look good to you. Tell me if you too will be Team Mommy Kisara. And if not, let me know why you like making bad choices and where life went wrong for you. Okay, hope you guys liked the new video and let me know if you would like to see more. What game or movie would you like to see me review in this format? Alright, talk to you guys later.
Wow, Kisara, it's so big.
You're talking about my shield, right?